Is Burnout Paradise Remastered Nintendo's answer to Need for Speed Most Wanted? Let's find out. Alright guys, I'm just gonna get straight to it and tell you guys what I do like about this game. Now, when I think of Burnout, I think of events like Road Rage and Marked Man, where you basically have to take out as many cars as you can in X amount of time, or trying to stay alive until the clock runs out. To me, that's what Burnout is mostly about. Racing is sort of like secondary to slamming other cars on the side of the road, which is what this game does really well. I think the problem with this game is that because they were going with an open world kind of thing, the normal races don't really work that well because there's just so many places you could go. Like, it's hard to tell where you have to turn exactly because it's open world, you know. There's no indicator on the road that tells you exactly where you need to go. You either have to know the entire map or you're just gonna have to press pause and just look at each street as they come up, which defeats the whole purpose of a racing game, I think. So the reason why I think Road Rage and Marked Man work so well is that there's no destination that you sort of have to reach. You know, you just have to drive as fast as you can and just take out as many people as you can. And so that's basically it. I think that's why those events work so well as opposed to like the regular races. And so when you look at games like Most Wanted, where each race is sort of like structured in sort of like a circle, you know, so you race around basically a lap around, you know, like a predetermined path. So even though you don't really know the path by the second or third lap, you pretty much have it like memorized. So it actually just works better as a racing game when you're racing in a circle, as opposed to what we have here in Burnout Paradise, where you start out at one end of the map and you end up at the other end, which is fine, but you just don't know the path you have to take to get there, which is good and bad, I guess, because it gives you a lot of freedom to tackle the route any way you want. But at the same time, you just don't like you're just gonna be all over the place because you just don't know where to go exactly. So I think that's what I think this game has a real problem with. It's not a very good racing game in general. I mean, it's a good game to like drive around and pull off jumps and like smash into billboards and like, you know, the other thing I was talking about, the Road Rage events, like those work really well. But the racing, the regular racing events, I just don't think the way they're structured just don't really work well in this open world environment. And I think later on in Need for Speed Most Wanted, I think that's when they realized that it just doesn't work when you're racing from one point to the next. So I think that's why they designed it in sort of like a lap kind of style. But other than that, I think the Road Rage and the Marked Man events are just so good that they sort of just overshadow the weaker racing events, because when you're really in the moment slamming into other people on the side of the road, it looks great. You know, like the cars are flying everywhere. You can like feel the impact of the car as they're like going off the road, and you know the car deformations look great. You have cars breaking up into 1,000 pieces. You see like all this metal just like fill the road, and the way the hood of the car like crumbles in slow motion. It looks great. I think this is probably the best looking Burnout game, but in terms of like racing, kind of weak. And I think it comes with all the DLC, I think. I'm not sure. I got to try on the bikes, which the bikes. Let me tell you about the bikes. They look great. They handle really well, but I just don't think they belong in a Burnout game. It just feels so out of place. You have like when you're driving a car and you hit something, the car goes into a slow motion kind of thing, and then it starts to break up. When you're on a bike, it just the driver. I mean, not the driver. The rider just disappears, and you see the bike go flying. So you don't really see the bike breaking up or anything, and it just looks weird when you compare it to what happens to a car. So in my opinion, I don't think the bikes work really well in this kind of game. But then again, it's just my opinion. Don't get all upset. So music. Let's talk about the music. If you played any racing game, you pretty much know what kind of music they're going to include. You got your classical selection, and then you got your Avril Lavigne's Girlfriend, which I don't know why this song is in every racing game back then. Like, did she have like some sort of deal with the racing games or something? But of course, there's one song that makes up for everything, which is Rockstar Remix. That is like the definitive racing game song. When that song is on, like everything is just, it's crazy. So there's one aspect of this game which I think is kind of cool. It's the way they incorporate like the online lobby. There's actually no lobby that you have to go into. It just happens on screen by pressing the right D button. I think it brings up Easy Drive. So basically, this is where you set up online games with other people, which I wasn't able to try out because actually I did try it. It's just there was no one online because I tried it at like 3 in the morning, which is now 4:30 in the morning, which is when I'm recording this. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure the online works. It's just I wasn't able to find anyone. Other than that, I mean, I think the game's good. I just don't think it's the best Burnout game in terms of racing. That, in my opinion, would have to go to Burnout Revenge. But I still think it's a solid game. It's just not as strong as it could be. And it's definitely not Nintendo's answer to Need for Speed Most Wanted. So, I mean, if you're a fan of Burnout, I think you should get this game. And if you played it before, then you probably know what you're going to expect. So, yeah. All right, guys, this was my first attempt at doing this off the cuff. No script, basically just telling you guys exactly how I feel. If you want to know what other racing games are on the Nintendo Switch, then click on this video right here. I'm pretty sure most of you have seen it, but just in case you haven't, check it out.